Yeah. Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Patience once again, Dark Patience Gamer. I decided to come at you guys with a little new one. So in this one, I wanted to talk about gaming content and gaming content quality. I also wanted to cover the kind of gaming content that we deem is threatening and I guess you could say trivial as to the gaming content that we shouldn't necessarily be so scared of, which we are in our everyday, genuine lives, due to the amount of fear that's out there in the system. But the kind of fear that we see out there in the system, if you ask me, is projected to us onto many games that we be playing in today's day and age. The games that we be playing today in today's day and age are selling at premium prices. But it also goes to show that gamers are willing to accept this kind of stuff, not just our gamers but our societies. But our gamers and our societies will be complaining about a lot of stuff that will result from a lot of human behavior. So I just want to cover that a little bit. As you know, on my channel, I cover a lot to do with Rainbow Six pretty much lately. Rainbow Six Vegas 2, which is one of my best tactical shooters, one of my favorites actually, because it's not just a tactical shooter, but it's also stealthy. Most people that play stealthy shooters don't necessarily play a stealthy shooter like they're playing a stealthy shooter. What do I mean by that? As you play the map or you play the story, they call it campaign, from one end to the other side, you're trying to your best to complete that mission as stealthy as possible, so it's undetected. That's how I like to play a lot of my tactical shooters. I do like to just go out there like I'm on the front lines, tactical soldier boy. But in most cases, you will find that I prefer to be a tactical, stealthy shooter. I do like to get my hands onto a sniper, but I also love my automatics and my pistols, which can be very bulky. But tactical shooters, guys. So taking that into consideration, Rainbow Six Vegas 2 is a very dated game. It came out, I think, somewhere in 2008, 2009. And most people prefer to see modern day graphics. I prefer obviously modern day graphics. I have a modern day graphics card. But a lot of titles that I prefer playing, ironically, are Prev-Gen or Prev-Gen. But a lot of these Prev-Gen games you will find cost roughly around the same amount of price that you could find modern day games for. Taking that into consideration, I've been trying to find another tactical stealthy shooter to present onto not just myself but onto you guys. One of those are Ready or Not, but unfortunately I won't be investing my time into Ready or Not. It looks amazing, but in fact I will invest my time and my money into Ready or Not, but not at the current asking price. Absurdly, they're asking for 30 odd pounds for a game that's based on scenarios. There's no story, there's no campaign, it's just scenarios. And within these scenarios, you're tackling a bunch of inadequate people that barely know how to hold a gun. These are socially distant people, deranged, that's gathered up some sort of nonsense in their head and taken out on the general public. These kind of people you can usually spot out from the general public pretty darn easily. And so they need general public help, whether that be hospitalized or whatever, counseling, anything but a bullet to the head. So I'm not really too fond of Ready or Not. There's also, I prefer obviously Rainbow Six. Rainbow Six, you're going out there, you're fighting terrorists. If you were to say, what's a terrorist? We're commonly trained, both professionally and domestically, what terrorists are and how to, react to terrorists. Terrorists are a bunch of people that are extremists. They believe that they can project their lives onto yours and force you to live in a way that they want you to live or expect you to live, with or without your consent. That's practically a terrorist. A terrorist is someone that's likely to run into your home and tell you what you can and can't do and when you can and can't do it. A terrorist is likely to run into your country and destroy your country because they believe that you've been acting in a way that they're not satisfied with, or because you've done something that maybe you should not have done. So, but their ways of retaliating or responding or communicating is done in an extremist kind of way. It's terrorism. Um, they might be deluded. They might have a point that they want to get across that has nothing to do with an activity or a situation. A bunch of people are at the beach. They want to run up on the beach and create an act of terrorism. They're terrorizing people. So they kill a bunch of people, and when and if they get caught, then they will express their points as to why they did it, which is very unfortunate. But terrorists are usually people that are customly designed to express themselves in an extremist kind of way. They pre-planned their actions, their motives, fashionably, and it's something that they're going to execute for reasons or beliefs, etc., etc., etc. A child that goes into a school and starts killing other people is usually deranged and needs social help. Their likelihood socially distanced in some sort of way, and they're dealing with things in an unfashionable way, which has led them to take their anger out and express in this kind of way. Very similar to terrorism, but it's very different because they're not trained in how to tackle tactical units, governmental units, etc., etc., etc. They're just it's just an outburst of anger and rage that likely this youngster was unable to deal with at that moment in time, and has gone out there and effectively done something, whether or not they wished they should have or should not have done. I don't want to take part in a game that comes across as a simulator where you're going around killing individuals such as such, because I personally believe those kind of people need social help. Because had they have received that social help from the get-go, usually you can spot these kind of people. I live with a bunch of distant people. They nuisance, they make noises, they drop poop all over the place, etc., etc., etc. These are dysfunctional behaviors that you can see leads to situations that don't necessarily have a good outcome. The same with a child. If a child's going to school and the child is not necessarily showing a behavioral kind of structure that other children are showing, you give them a little bit of time before you might believe, step in and give them some social help to prevent them from turning antisocial. Unless obviously this individual is very adamant that they want to kill people, then these things will likely be unfolded once they're being addressed. However, that's why I will not invest my time into Ready or Not. It's not challenging enough, it's not engaging enough, it's not immersive enough. It's just like a slap on the wrist. You're a police officer, bad guys, go in, kill them, get out. Then you got ones like ArmA 3. ArmA 3 is one that I was looking at to invest into, to publish on my channel, not just for myself but for you guys, but unfortunately it was a giant flop because, like Ready or Not, it's not engaging enough. I've written down a little script so as to bring out to help you guys see it from my perspective. Not only that, but it also shows why I don't invest into a lot of gaming titles, guys. There's only few things that I actually do play, and there's so many things that I will not play. I've gone out and I've bought myself a 3080, and I've gone out and I've got myself I was able to get myself a few other hardcore. I have in my possession hardware that enables me to engage in a lot of these gaming titles that are of a modern standard, and a lot of the gaming titles that we have today are not producing modern kind of like content for my hardware. This is why I want to go out and literally buy content, guys, especially at the premium asking price that they ask for. ArmA 3. ArmA 3 starts with a peculiar text just before the intro, which reads, "Wars are like deaths, which, while they can be postponed, will come when they will come, and cannot finally be avoided." So in every space there's a comma. So obviously there's more to this little pitch than what it reads. To me, this reads fear from someone else's mind, but regardless of what you pick up from it, regardless of what you get from it, that's what it reads. As the game opens up, we are thrown into a scene that looks similar to a managed hot zone. You take your overhead and install yourselves into a truck and begin an escapade down a road when you see what's believed to be a disturbing scene. Another soldier truck has been run off-road. It's flipped onto its side, and there's a dead soldier laying outside of the truck on the floor in the road. The driver of the truck is still inside the truck, hands on the wheel, dead, with an explosive residue in the center of the road, just a couple feet back. A quick personal breakdown. This is something that they do not allow you to do in-game, but this is something that I'm actively doing now. There's majority of the games out there don't allow gamers to kind of investigate, but doing a little personal breakdown. This would indicate that the soldiers victims to this attack were likely first surprise jumped with an array of bullets, ambushed from the front and on the side as the vehicle went driving by, obviously to avoid confrontation expectedly by the driver. This would indicate that the soldiers victims to this attack were likely first surprise jumped with an array of bullets, ambushed from the front and onto the side of the vehicle as they tried to avoid confrontation expectedly by driving on right through. However, once again they were surprised, ambushed with likely detonation clay, which flipped the truck. The driver of the truck likely died shortly after the first impact of the array of bullets, and the second guy survived the bombardment but got out of the vehicle and tried to run before being annihilated by the initial first attackers who opened fire to start the array of sequences. On coming to this conclusion that there are two dead soldiers laying dead, the two soldiers mentioned earlier begin realizing an attack on their bases, as you could hear gunfire fights from both near and far. Not long after this incident, aircrafts begin flying over, dropping bombs on the remains of the unit's bases near and far. Over the intercoms you can hear confusion as no one has any answers as to what the attacks are about or what's even going on. In a state of shock, one of the soldiers keeps asking his overhead, the guy that you're supposed to be playing with, what is going on? Why is this happening? However, on seeing targets, the idea to fight for survival, which is basically bone-back native instincts of a human being, my point is, from a surprise attack, there was war in the middle of nowhere. There was no order fight back, or there was no order to fight back, and no governmental approval. This was no different from someone attacking you on the street and both of you brawling it out. Regardless of why a person attacked you, both people engage in lethal combat, and so both people are deemed criminals. Worse yet, if someone hits you and then moments later, days, weeks or years, you retaliate, that again is a worse crime as to you as you plotted your assault rather than seeking judicial help. The game sells for premium prices, with a story that opens very weak and inhumanely, and one basic size map, though it does have its perks. When likening this game, or when this game is likened to other games such as Elite Dangerous, which allows players to scale the entire galaxy for cheaper or roughly the same cost in price, one has to ask, why would I pay so much for ArmA 3 when that teaches people how to kill ruthlessly? There was not even a stage wherein there was even a stage where, in a state of shock, you're expected to hold your gun up as you see hostiles 50 meters or so away, hostiles 50 meters or so away, and shoot them down dead as they run about in the distance. The catch to this is movies. Let's move on to movies. Movies support bloodshed beyond the biological norm, both in quantities and violently. Movies find a way to invite so much blood into their scenes one could fill a swimming pool and literally go swimming in a pool of blood. Games are far too restricted but possess far graphic material beyond that of bloodshed. My point. We are all used to blood, as blood is a common feature in our day-to-day lives. Movies, TV shows, cartoons, imagination. So much so we have crazy little humors such as, if I were younger, I'd kill you. If I could get away with it, I'd kill you. You know, these little kind of gimmicks that we can say out loud as like a joke. We can actually say because it's absurd. Blood spill is literally absurd to the general public when considering majority as to the minority. I wouldn't necessarily say most people out there are killers. Horror movies such as It and Freddy, which you could deem to be humorous movies because there's a lot of comedy in it, there's a lot of killing, there's a lot of blood, guts and gore, but we go and watch it for humor. Horror movies such as It and Freddy have downpours of blood scenes, which are old school classics most people either know about or have in their collection. I myself would rather play a game with insane amounts of blood and correct physics to go along with it than a story that has me play the role of a paranoid serial killer. You fear the person you see killing is going to kill you because you see them killing everyone else around you. The fear for your life has you assume killing before being killed is the correct outcome. Take that mentally and put that in a domestic home. Are you a paranoid killer or someone acting within reason? Again, you don't even call the police for further action to be professionally distributed, but take actions into your own hands. Seeing so much blood can help refrain people from wanting to engage with it quite naturally. The world is filled with billions of people, and yet the world is mostly peaceful. However, is this peace due to the help of the governments who seem to want to keep going to war over the smallest little details and hoard so many weapons of mass destruction? I believe no. I believe the general public are made to look like animals who will tear each other apart or to shreds given the fall of officials, when in actual fact we are made to live in a state of fear from each other due to the fact of officials simply governing over us, yet alone them hoarding weapons of all kinds, which indicates they live in a state of fear from us, and if so, why? I want to see more blood in our games, as I want to play a simulation that offers me the realest experience as like a movie. I don't go buying the best TV, monitor, graphics card, motherboard, memory stick, CPU, power supply, and content for budgeted experience. So, as we can see here, I have many strong points that I brought out and distributed, and many strong points that kind of indicate or prove why we have no real reason or need to be scared of bloodshed in our games as to the content that's delivered onto us within our games. Some of these games are not even games, they're simulators, as ArmA may be considered a simulator. If you were to go into Steam and look for ArmA and see its genre, within that title or subtitle list, you're going to see simulator. The same with Ready or Not. In Ready or Not, you will find dysfunctional communication, and these are things that we're likely to accept and put up with because we're playing with it in our games. If you see someone, you say, get down on your knees, put your hands behind your head, but the person doesn't do it, so you subject them another command, and the next command is turn around, put your hands on your head, and you kind of jump in between the two. It's kind of dysfunctional, it's confusing. Not only is it confusing, but the person's literally standing there with a gun in your face. You're, no matter how you look at it, a suspect to the situation that you're in, whether you are or you ain't. Being shouted at in a way that you don't understand because the person's not talking clearly enough, likelihood because they're scared you're going to shoot them, does not help the individual react or respond in the correct way or manner which they would normally. So the outcome is very close to an unfortunate one as to resolving one. This is why I'm not really so into Ready or Not. I don't want to go out there killing people that don't have, the know-how to fight against tactical units. Terrorists do. Terrorists are tactical units. As well, ArmA kind of addresses us in so many ways. It kind of tells us that we're scared, we're terrified, and that we don't necessarily need orders to kill anyone. You can just pick up a gun and someone says, you don't even need no one to say anything. You pick up a gun, you see someone kill someone, and you make up in your own mind that this person's going to kill me because he just killed someone. You don't say to yourself, did someone on my team just do something to make this person want to do something in return? And am I going to stand and fight for a wrong that someone on my team did? You automatically judge the aggressor. You don't try to reason. There was no justice in that case scenario. I don't like to believe that my life is held under such authority from such vulnerable people. If you're scared that I'm going to attack you at any given moment, then your reaction and your response is not necessarily a professional one. Our engagement is not necessarily a professional one. And that's what a lot of these gaming titles are teaching. So when you see kids running up in schools with guns and trying to kill all the other students and all the other teachers, could be stemming from these kind of games, guys. So this is why we want to manage our content, get them stamped and approved before coming out. I am not scared of blood. Blood does not train people to do insane things. Our kids will go out and cut their fingers, and they will scrape their knees, they will bang their knees, and you have blood trickling from their knees. We have sharp knives in our kitchens. We are not certified to have sharp knives in our kitchens, yet we get into relationships with dysfunctional people in many cases. I live in a region with, as far as I'm concerned, dysfunctional people. They're nuisance, they make noises, they poop all over the place. That's antisocial behavior. We don't pay road taxes for people to be going around pooping all over the place. But that's the reality of the regions that I'm currently living in. I don't know about you guys. So, you would kind of say to yourself that these guys are kind of dysfunctional, but they're not killing each other. And I wouldn't necessarily say I'm dysfunctional, but I ain't killing anyone. I ain't killing anyone that's pooping all over the place either. So you would assume that people are more functional in their minds as to dysfunctional. But the people that are dysfunctional, you can easily highlight them, and you would say these people need social help because they seem socially distanced. Taking that into consideration, if you get people like that onto a game like ArmA, then you're likely going to end up with a situation on your hands. But you can prevent that if you tackle these things earlier. Tackling something like the content that's been distributed onto the public is something I think should be tackled. When you sit down and you watch things like Freddy and you watch things like It, both the recent releases and the previous releases, can you go back in time to both releases of those movies and say there was an uppeak in murders? Done in any fashion, copycat situation, etc., etc., etc. You got games like ArmA. If you go check the releases of ArmA, since the release of ArmA, has there been incidences where kids have gone out into schools or into beaches and decided to kill people because they were dysfunctional, socially disordered, as it were? Because it's only someone that's socially distanced that's capable of doing such things, you might assume. So, taking that into consideration, this is a way step out from anything, but do I feel safe living next to dysfunctional people or people I feel are dysfunctional? No. Because anything could happen. If these guys are capable, they've gone to school, surely their teachers were with them. If they can go to schools and do something so absurd, what say of these guys? Could the persons living next door to you guys or anyone that are socially distanced or behaving in antisocial ways, are they capable of doing certain things? Our government's capable of doing things. They're holding all these weapons of mass destructions. They're holding guns. What are they capable of doing? This is antisocial because of fear. So as to titles that are either science fictional or titles that are like Rainbow Six, which is solely focused on terrorism. Terrorism is something that you can just make up in your own mind, as it were. You can say, well, these guys are fighting for this building, and we're going in to ensure that this building is kept safe from the bad guys. As to taking a real case scenario in a simulator and making it play out in a way that's very close to reality, but teaches you in a wrong way or in a twisted way. So these are the things that I'm kind of addressing. Not only that, but these titles are selling for premium prices. Like I said, Star Citizen, Elite Dangerous, No Man's Sky, Elite Space Engineers. These kind of titles allow players to get their hands on and go traveling through the galaxy. You can go traveling through the universe. You can go traveling to other planets, other star systems, touch down on other planets, and you can even take out your weapons and do general tasks, doing all sorts of things, activities. These titles are modern day titles with modern day graphics, sold for a reasonable price that's very affordable for every average day person, everyday average wage person. Titles that are very affordable, which I think is very reasonable, very fair, and very nice. However, titles like ArmA, Ready or Not, and the like, Battlefield, these titles sell for like premium prices. They're going up into the £60, they're going up into the £100 and up beyond. And within these titles, you can't go anywhere, you're just on a map. And once you complete that map, that's done, you go on to another map, which makes it scenarios. There's no real campaign. There's no story mode. There's nothing engaging. There's no real immersion. You're just killing. And this sells for premium prices. So rather than being scared of blood for content and, excess blood, as it were, because blood is something that we can also learn from. If you've ever seen a show like Dexter, yes, Dexter takes it to the extreme because he's a good guy, but he does good things in a bad way. You can learn a lot from the story of blood. Blood tells you quite a lot. It can tell you where a person was killed, what time a person was killed. It can give you the identity of a person. It can even let you know the exact story of how a scenario played out. So if you shoot someone in the arm, evidence is going to be left behind. It not just you shoot someone in the arm and you don't bleed. Usually you bleed, guys. Your clothes will soak, and then you get a blood spatter, and then that stains. Excess of blood means the blood is going to start drooling down. You're going to get a puddle of blood on the floor. If you step in that puddle of blood and keep walking, you're going to leave blood trails of your footprint in blood. If you drag a person that's bleeding heavily, you're going to see a long blood trail. So these were some of the things that was beginning to kind of win me over with Ready or Not, because I saw someone dragging someone and they're leaving a blood trail, and I thought that was just so realistic. That's something that I would like to engage in. But then the rest of the content was just a bit too worrying for me. But I do want as close to realism as possible, guys. Hence why majority of us would have next gen hardware material in our devices. So taking that into consideration, that's why you won't see me with Ready or Not. I won't be investing into Ready or Not. I won't be investing into ArmA, but I will probably get my hands back onto Ghost Recon, guys. So because that's as close as you get to Rainbow Six Vegas 2. It's still a Tom Clancy release. It's a little bit dated, but the graphics are a hell of a lot better, a hell of a lot reasonable. The only bad thing is I'll have to download mods in order to get first person, because doing third person was the basic genome. You don't seemingly have a choice to go first or third. So I will get the mod, I'll upload the mod and try my best to do it in first person, not necessarily story, but I like to do the terrorist hunt stuff. That is something that's an expedition I'll probably do after I do Rainbow Six. Anyway, guys, that's your boy Patience. I hope you like what you be seasoned and heard, and if you did, leave those thumbs and those likes and those comments down below. And if you have any queries, guys, over and out. Over and out.